Today I want to talk about something really interesting that I read a while ago, and I wish I had the link for it. I wish I had the link so I could show you guys what I'm talking about with a little bit more detail and just link you to that original thing, but for the life of me I cannot remember where I saw this. But I read this really interesting article about how actors who memorize their lines, or anybody who does a lot of word memorization, a public speaker or a speech team kid or whatever, actually rewires their brains, because humans are not supposed to remember words verbatim as they're written in lines for a play. I'm just going to stick with the actor example because it's the easiest and most relatable to my life. And I just thought this was super, super interesting. Our brains are not supposed to capture things verbatim. It's why when your mom tells you something like, Johnny, I need you to go out to the garage and get 2 hammers and a box of nails, and you're going to repeat back what she asked you to do because she wants to make sure you're paying attention. You're not going to remember exactly what she said. You're probably going to say something like, okay, Mom said, go to the garage, grab a box of nails and 2 hammers. You're going to kind of stammer it back. And that's also because it's on the spot and you're not actually intentionally memorizing things. But even when you are memorizing, a lot of people have difficulty doing that. And it's interesting to me that it's actually because our brains are not supposed to do that. So when an actor memorizes an entire script, they're actually completely rewiring the way their brain works, which is just fascinating to me. I love brain stuff like that. And so I figured along this topic, I have a couple of suggestions that help me when I'm trying to memorize lines and might help you if you're looking for some memorization tips. So number 1 would be to write them down. I know it's kind of a pain, but if you can find like a good notebook and a colorful pen, something to keep you happy when you're looking at your lines over and over and over again, and just write them out, write all of your lines out, and you can skip the ones that belong to other people, or you can include those as well if you want to, use those for reference. But I love doing this when I was on the speech team, actually, because it works really well when you have a long chunk like you would for a monologue or a speech. And you just write the whole thing down, and you do it chunk by chunk by chunk. And that's a popular term, chunking, which is also another tip to segue into number 2, try chunks. Break it down into smaller bits, whether that's 1 line at a time or it's, 2 or 3 lines, and you just put them together and you add to them, and you memorize this bit and then you work down to this bit. And number 3 would be to use a tape recorder, because some people are auditory learners, that you probably have heard by now, and it works better if you record all of your lines. And your phones, if you got a smartphone, they all come with the voice recorder. So just get on there and record all of the other people's lines. Now here's the trick. Record all of the other people's lines on there, and then leave spaces for your lines. And then you can listen to other people do the dialogue when you listen back to it, and you can say your lines where the spaces are left in between. Alternatively, you can do it the other way, where you record all of your lines and you just listen to your lines until you get the hang of it. Or you can record the whole thing and you can learn them that way too. It's actually something that my cast did in high school, is we actually used CDs, and we recorded the entire read through when we sat down and read the script for the first time. And we recorded it, put it on CDs, and then I put it in my car. And so every time I was driving to school or heading off to, whatever I was doing, I was listening to the lines. And eventually they just soak into your brain when you're not even thinking about it. And pretty soon you've got your lines memorized. So those are some of my favorite suggestions. If you got any other ones, totally comment below in the box. I still don't have a name for it. And let other people know, what do you do when you're looking to memorize your lines or your speeches, and maybe help somebody else out. So that was my interesting thing of the day, and hopefully those memorization tips will help you out a little bit. And I hope you guys have a great day. Peace to y'all.